It's December of 2016, and the next Dead Rising game is coming out. If you somehow don't know what Dead Rising is, then you probably live under a rock, but in case you don't know, every Dead Rising game follows a dude who's alive that hits other dudes that aren't as alive with big things, and it's great. So when Dead Rising 4 released to pretty negative reviews, all saying that it was a bad Dead Rising game, it was kind of a surprise. Because of the bad reviews, Dead Rising 4 actually sold so poorly that it led to its developer being shut down. There's no way that this game is so shit that it shut down an entire game studio, right? Well... Since Dead Rising 4 is now about half a decade old, it has an eye-watering, tear-jerking, expensive price tag of $7. So obviously, I bought it, installed it, and prepared to be disappointed. The opening to this game was super fucking boring. Like, after playing the intro, I really thought it was gonna be unbearably bad. The zombies seemed to shrug off the wax of my baseball bat like it was a minor inconvenience. There's a fucking combo meter? Why? And to be honest, everything just looks super generic. I couldn't even tell the mall I was fighting in was supposed to be a recreation of the mall in the first Dead Rising until later in the game. The intro was bad, and I need to stress that, because it gets worse. We're greeted to our first cutscene after the tutorial where we meet Frank. Oh, it's great to see you, Frank, thank God. Oh fuck, Frank got plastic surgery. Frank went from reporter to a grinder daddy profile picture within a few years. I mean, you can't tell me that these are the same people. And to be completely honest, Frank looks like he got younger. Like he has some anti-aging shit going on. Anyway, I'm really glad that Frank is aging well, but what I'm not entirely happy about is that Frank is a completely different person apparently. I don't know how his ego has seemingly exploded since the first game, but he's quite literally an unlikable asshole like 60% of the time.
You were here to watch and learn how a real investigative journalist does his shit in the field. Nothing but his notes, his camera, and his fucking balls. You got it?
That being said, the 40% of the time that he is tolerable, he's kind of funny.
Am I under arrest?
That depends.
Just kind of stuffy in here, don't you think? A little fresh air, you know. I really thought that would work.
If I were to sum up his character, he's like if Ash Williams was written by Patrick Bateman from American Psycho. We're also introduced to our student, Vic, who is bringing us back to Willamette to see some secret military shit. I don't really fucking know how she knows that there's secret military shit going on, but we're here! Frank and Vic fist bump.
No.
Come on, just do it.
And we're on our way. As we delve deeper into the base, it turns out that the zombies are back even after they were thought to be extinct. Bummer. I took a break or two while fighting for my life to take selfies with a few of my undead friends, and then kept fighting for my life. Frank begins taking pictures of the zombies the military are experimenting on, and Vic gets all angry and leaves. The military end up finding where we are, and Vic drives home without us, leaving us stranded. Frank walks home alone and cold and sad, and he's all wanted by the cops and shit too. Anyway, the place we just were, Willamette, is now overrun with zombies apparently. Who would have thought? Some FBI genius finds out where Frank has been hiding all along and tells him that he needs to go back to the city and uncover the truth. For some reason. So to wrap up the intro, it's super fucking boring and super fucking confusing. I don't really understand any of what is happening or why it's happening, and it doesn't help that it's all written worse than a story off Wattpad. I've seen Five Nights at Freddy's fan games that are better written than this shit. So with an intro this bad, you might be asking me why I would have named this overhated and underrated, and I agree. I had doubts that I was even going to have fun playing this game, but trust me, it actually somehow recovers after this horrendous opening. That being said, I won't be focusing on the story right now so that we can focus on just the gameplay of Dead Rising 4, which is where it really shines. Right after the intro, we get plopped into Willamette Mall. This is the place from the first Dead Rising, which was very cool to see rebuilt. It is absolutely nothing like the old one, and that's actually pretty good in my opinion. It's very diverse, it has a bunch of different stores, and of course you can beat up zombies with almost anything you find. This is a part of the game that I can't overstate how happy I am with, because the mall is just so much fun to play around in. It's a nice callback to the original Dead Rising that still feels fresh. In Dead Rising 4, there's safe houses infested with zombies that Frank can clear. After killing all the zombies in an area, these snowmen appear to sell you things that make life just a bit easier. These safe houses actually turned out to be pretty useful throughout the game. You can get things like vehicles, weapons, and maps that show you where hidden things are, like graffiti and recipes. What's that? You don't know what a recipe is. What are you fucking stupid? Weapon recipes have been a thing since Dead Rising 2, where you take 2 items and combine them to make an even bigger war crime of a weapon to kill with. These can range from a crossbow with a firework on the tip, to a football duct taped with grenades. They're genuinely pretty cool, and it's always fun to build a new weapon in the heat of battle. Crafting is one of the main draws to the Dead Rising games, so I'm glad to see that they went above and beyond with it this time. You can even combine vehicles to make things like an ATV with a machine gun on top. Nice. After playing around in the mall for a bit, the game introduces us to the fresh zombies. At first, I was excited to see some variation in the enemy types I would face, but it would soon turn me into the saltiest person in existence. These are possibly the worst things in the game due to how much damage they can take and how much damage they give off. You can see in my first fight with them that I'm at full health, and then I almost die in just a few hits from them. All the while, it's taking me very many hits to even get them to stop hitting me. Do I think that these zombies are unfair? Honestly, no. I mean, I'm playing on hard mode after all. There has to be a challenge somewhere. But did they annoy the shit out of me? Yes. Yes, they did. That being said, it's actually good to see some difference in these zombies. They're harder to fight, and it makes big hordes of zombies that usually wouldn't be a big deal actually turn out to be a big deal. New to Dead Rising is this fan-dangled Exo Suit. These things fucking slap. They give you superhuman strength and the ability to pick up different types of weapons you typically aren't able to, such as the minigun, the flamethrower, and the military axe. There's also power-ups for the exosuit you can find throughout the world, which change the entire loadout of the exosuit into things like getting a freeze ray, having a machine gun on your shoulder, and turning into fucking Mega Man. Like I said, they slap. So that's a lot of good stuff, and it's the parts of the game that I enjoyed the most. But there's definitely gameplay elements that could be seen as lacking in comparison to earlier games. For example, the clock in Dead Rising 4 is gone. If you don't know what I mean, in previous titles there was a deadline for each event, and if you missed it, you failed. The timer was meant to keep you on track, and it was sometimes very difficult to abide by this time limit set by the game, so it added a bit of tension and stress. Some people hated it, some people loved it. But since it's been there since the beginning of the series, hardcore fans obviously weren't happy. Human enemies have always been a staple of Dead Rising as well. In Dead Rising 1, 2, and 3, they were called psychopaths, and they all had their own little cutscene to introduce them and how much of a twisted freaking psychopath they were. But in Dead Rising 4, they were given the diabolical new name of maniacs. Now you might be wondering what a maniac is, and how it's different from a psychopath, and I don't know. The main difference I saw is that they weren't really characters in this game, but more of a side quest to just kill someone who has dialogue. Like I said, none of them had any cutscenes, so there's like zero depth to these enemies. Even though they were definitely still fun to fight, it's kind of a letdown for something that has been such a big part of the series. Even if you aren't really a fan of Dead Rising, you can probably see where the people who loved the old games are coming from. So both of these points are common reasons brought up to say why Dead Rising is worse than the older games. But actually, that's okay, and I'm going to tell you why. The clock that's missing in Dead Rising 4, I literally couldn't be happier. It gave me time to fuck around in the huge map that is Willamette, without having to worry about checking my damn wristwatch every few minutes. It allowed me to actually explore the world for new combination weapons and do things like having bar fights with zombies. I could play the game at my own pace and not be punished for it, and that's exactly what Dead Rising 4 is actually trying to accomplish. This game, in my opinion, is really trying to get more casual gamers in on Dead Rising, and I'm all for it. Psychopaths being different is a bummer, sure, but my probably unpopular opinion is they just wouldn't fit into a game like this. This game is super casual and laid back, and that in and of itself is the best thing about it. People who don't want to constantly be on the clock or reload a save to retry a boss battle for the 20th time are now able to enter the series in a casual way. It's fun, and not in the Dark Souls sense of fun. Anyway, how's the story doing? Is it still awful? Well, actually, surprisingly no. Other than the intro, I really liked Dead Rising 4's story, and while I won't spoil anything, I will say that it's pretty enjoyable. The story is very far out there, but so is the rest of the game. It's wacky, and it isn't always coherent, but it's also surprisingly deep and has plot twists. There's not a lot of games that I can say pull something off like that. Is it the best game ever written? Hell no, of course not. But it's certainly enjoyable. The story was pretty interesting, and even if I disagree how characters like Frank West should have been written, I still had a great time. Speaking of the story, Dead Rising's took me a little above 8 hours to beat, which is okay, I guess? I really wish the game took me a while longer because I feel like I didn't get to enjoy all of the content it had in store. But at the same time, if the game was longer, then it might have overstayed its welcome. It's tough to say, but this is also without including the side content, such as a damn good mini-golf game mode, the story DLC, and the co-op multiplayer missions. Dead Rising 4 at the beginning was shaping up to be absolute garbage when I first started playing, but somehow it clutched up. This game is an absolute blast, and it's a shame that it was never given a chance by a lot of people. Would I recommend Dead Rising? Hell yeah, especially if you've never played a Dead Rising game before. But if you're a fan of the series, take it from someone who loves the games just as much as you do, and come in with an open mind.